What's going on? Wake up with me, DJ Cadero. What up, 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 what up? I am DJ Cadero, and you are now locked in with me here on the Diaspora show on 87.9 The Culture, where hip-hop and R&B lives, where the culture of hip-hop and R&B lives, excuse me. It is Monday, guys. It is Monday, June 29th, 2026. Reggae Monday, to be specific. Remember, I, Jah Rastafari, and everything I re, huh? What's up? What 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 up? For those that don't know, this is how the Diaspora show works. First, I give you guys the Diaspora news. That's top stories going on in Africa, the Caribbean, and anywhere else that the African diaspora is centered. Again, that's the Diaspora news. Then I give you guys the African proverb of the day. That's words of wisdom through an affirmation or a life lesson. Again, that's the African proverb of the day, words of wisdom. Then, when that's all said and done, I give you guys the best beats, the best vibes, the best melodies, the best harmonies, because I am I'm the baddest Afro DJ in the game. I mean, that's me.
DJ Cadero.
Yeah. So I'll be getting busy today with all the Caribbean vibes. It's Reggae Monday, so that means all the West Indian music, I'm bringing it to you. That's a lot of reggae, a lot of dance hall. Get ready for it. That's okay, huh? That sounds like a very good one, huh? It sounds like a very good one, doesn't it, huh? Well, with that being said, let's not waste any time. Let's get into the Diaspora news. Come on!
Live from 879 Studios in Omaha, Nebraska. This is Diaspora News with your anchor, DJ Cadero.
That's me. Let's get into it. What up? What's going on, guys? What up? Once again, if you're just now tuning in, I am a DJ Cadero, your host here on the Diaspora show and your anchor on the Diaspora news. This is the Diaspora news segment where we get into our top stories going on in Africa, the Caribbean, and anywhere else that the African diaspora is centered. If you want to get in the conversation with me here on the Diaspora news segment or any part of the Diaspora show, go ahead and create a username and password by following the process on clicking the group chat tab in the app, in the 879 app. You're hearing my voice, so it's likely that you or somebody that you're with has the app. Go ahead and create a username and password. Keep the password for yourself, but the username, it will appear. Now let's go ahead and check out the chat to see what the conversation is right now. Lita says, "What up, Cadero?" What's up, Lita? What up, what up, what up, what up? And then the real WizKid says, "The best est." Yeah. What up, the real WizKid? And then DJ Mr. Soul. Well, go on, DJ Mr. Soul, man. You guys can check out Lita's Saved But Still, and then also check out DJ Mr. Soul of the DJ Mr. Soul Show, Monday through Friday, starting at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. All right, let's not waste any time. Let's get into the Diaspora news. Again, I'm your anchor here on 879 The Culture, and this is the Diaspora news on Monday, June 29th, 2026. Well, good morning. I mean, we're looking at high-stakes immigration deadline in South Africa. We're going to go to East Africa, where a military shutdown has silenced independent media houses. And then we're going to look at the knockout stages that have been set officially for the World Cup 2026. Let's start with our first story. We go to the southern region of Africa, where tensions have been reaching a boiling point ahead of a proclaimed immigrant deadline to leave the country of South Africa on June 30th. All right, so anti-immigrant networks led by groups known as the March and March movement and Operation Dudula have issued a strict ultimatum demanding that all undocumented foreign nationals pack up and leave South Africa by tomorrow. You heard me right. And this is not by the Afrikaners, the descendants of the Dutch and the English. No, this is by Black South Africans themselves telling other Black immigrants from Congo, Nigeria, Ghana, Botswana. I mean, you name it. You guys have until June 30th to leave the country. Otherwise, you leave not in the health that you're in or not with the life that you currently have. These groups have threatened a national shutdown and a massive widespread demonstration if the government fails to execute mass deportations. So while the South African government has explicitly rejected this unofficial deadline, the fear on the ground is monumental. President of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, addressed the nation, and he warned anti-immigrant groups that lawlessness and any attempt to destabilize the country will not be tolerated. I mean, he can say that, but we are on the ground. Yes, the Diaspora News is on the ground, and this is exactly what we're hearing.
The anti-immigrant marches that are taking place in South Africa nearly daily have left many African foreign nationals feeling extremely vulnerable and scared. Groups of people, many of them followers of an organization calling itself March and March, have been demonstrating under the slogan Abahambe, which means let them go in Zulu. The marchers say they're targeting undocumented migrants who they claim are committing crimes, stealing jobs from South Africans, and overburdening health and other public services. But both undocumented and documented migrants from other parts of Africa say they're being intimidated and threatened by anti-immigrant campaigners. Emmanuel Kachingwe is a Malawian national. He came to South Africa from Malawi in September 2022 looking for work so that he could support his 2 children back home. The 32-year-old settled in the Melville area of Durban in the KwaZulu-Natal province. He later got a job as a tailor. In May, as anti-immigrant protests escalated, marchers claimed June the 30th was the unofficial date for immigrants to leave South Africa. In early June, a group of locals paid Kachingwe a visit.
They're beating us there. Some of the people, they got a gun, said if you're not going back home before that, you are going to die, you see. Some come, the president was saying, knocking the door, hey, you must go back home.
Kachingwe is now among the estimated 10,000 Malawian nationals who are staying out in the open on the grounds of Durban's Sherwood Hall as tensions between South Africans and migrants rise. They've been streaming in here from all over KwaZulu-Natal. The few on-site mobile toilets quickly fill up, leaving them filthy, smelling and hazardous.
You can catch diseases because inside there is full. It's full. Serious. Things is hard. They must help us to go back home, serious. We are suffering here.
The vast majority of the 10,000 displaced Malawians here appear to be set on leaving South Africa.
The government must send the bus to take us to go home. That's all. We don't want the money, we don't know what, but we need the bus to take us to go home.
Meanwhile, the South African government is insisting that those who sought safety in places like Sherwood Hall should return to the communities they fled.
No, right now we can't live in commit according to the way they are doing. Yeah, because it's insult everyone when he's talking that you people must go home. Everyone, even the children that you are passing with, she's busy telling you that no, you have to go back home.
The governments of Malawi, Ghana and Nigeria stepped in to evacuate their nationals as videos of anti-immigrant marches went viral.
Where I work, they came there and then they took us all out, whether you documented or not. They broke down everything in the salon. It's been a month and a week that I'm not working, that we are all not working. So it's not about illegal foreign nationals or refugees only. They said both legal and illegal.
This is not the Pan-African that we dreamt of. This is not what our forebears wish that we should have. And I think that it's a dent on our image as Africa, but we can quickly rectify that and work together as a committee of nations.
South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has vowed to punish those targeting immigrants in South Africa.
We must never give in to violence, to xenophobia, and to vigilantism.
Kachingwe had just one thing to say to South Africans before he disappeared into the crowd, waiting for the buses to take them home back to Malawi.
Only God knows, because there's nothing I say, because I got tears in my eyes. Yeah, only God knows. Serious, only God knows.
Once again, if you're just joining in, I am DJ Cadero, your anchor here on the Diaspora News, on the Diaspora Show, exclusively on 879 The Culture, where the culture of hip-hop and R&B lives. It's Monday, June 29th, 2026. It's Reggae Monday, to be specific. We're getting into our top stories going on in Africa, the Caribbean, and anywhere else that the African diaspora is centered. Our first story deals with the upcoming June 30th deadline that Black South Africans have given other Black African national immigrants to leave South Africa or else. This has been looming in the chat. Man, we got a lot. DJ Mr. Soul says, you better get a check from that saved but still. And you talk to him. Talk to him. Leader says, thanks for the shout out. The Real WizKid says, let's go Ghana. Yeah. Lita says, well, she's talking to Soul. And then Lita asks, you said something about a doula? I think doula has probably less to do about being a midwife. This is a group that wants Black immigrants out of South Africa. DJ Mr. Soul adds, I bet me balls this movement has white Africans behind it, Afrikaners. Planted the seed in the way of immigrants are taking everything from you. Sound familiar? Lita says, sounds very familiar. Man, you know, despite the South African government assuring Black African immigrants and the deployment of 6,000 security forces across the country of South Africa, thousands of African immigrants have been actively fleeing. Ghana alone has repatriated up to 1,000 of their nationals back into Ghana. Over the weekend, in some scenes that I wasn't able to put on the radio that unfolded in Durban, Cape Town, where thousands of individuals from Zimbabwe, Malawi, Mozambique, Ghana, and Nigeria gathered at temporary shelters, and also their own consulates, like the missions. Many neighboring countries, Lesotho, Eswatini, formerly known as Swaziland, have actively stepped in to repatriate their citizens and save them from a potential breakout of xenophobic violence in South Africa. For many families, tomorrow, June 30th, 2026, is a day of dread, as documented and undocumented diaspora members alike brace themselves for potential unrest. We'll be tracking the developments in South Africa very closely as tomorrow's deadline arrives. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on that first story. Again, tomorrow, June 30th, is the deadline, the quote-unquote deadline that anti-immigrant and xenophobic groups in South Africa have told Black African immigrants to leave the country. The Real WizKid says, I also second that their white South African is urging Black South Africans. And that assurance, he adds, didn't sound reassuring from the government. What an insane scene. Again, you know, I've said it many times before, but the first Black president of South Africa was Nelson Mandela, and a Pan-Africanist to the T, to the bone. Now, once he was released from prison, after being held and incarcerated against his will for 27 years, he went to many countries, one of them being Uganda, and thanking the Ugandan people for allowing South African troops to train there in the war against apartheid. Angola was also another country he thanked. And just for over 20 years later, 30 years later, we have his children, metaphorically speaking, doing everything that they can to be the opposite of Pan-Africanists. If you don't want to be a Pan-Africanist, that's fine, but to think that immigrant groups are, quote-unquote, taking your jobs when, you know, the studies show that most immigrants that are in South Africa have their own businesses, have their own shops. And they're hiring locally because they don't have enough of their own citizens to be hiring from. This is insane. I don't have very many words. So I'm just really disappointed in South Africa, if you want me to be personal. Let's get into the second story. We go to East Africa in Uganda, where a major issue against the freedom of press is unfolding. So over this weekend, the chief of the Ugandan military, Mr. General Muhoozi, also the son of President Yoweri Museveni, ordered an absolute shutdown of the country's largest independent media outlets. On Sunday morning, heavily armed military personnel raided and surrounded the capital of Uganda, Kampala's headquarters of the Nation Media Group, again, the largest independent media house in Uganda. The military forcefully took television channels, including NTV Uganda and Spark TV, completely off the air. And also, that's the home where major radio stations like KFM and Dembe FM were silenced. Journalists were barred by gunpoint from entering the offices of the Daily Monitor, Uganda's independent newspaper. I'm only laughing because this is insane. Why did this happen? Well, the General Muhoozi, again, the son of the current president and the longest serving president in Uganda's history, he explicitly said on Twitter X, "In Uganda, I do not believe in free press," quote unquote. Again, he himself went to Twitter X and said, "In Uganda, I do not believe in free press." He's outright saying it. We go to a neighboring country, Kenya, where they discuss what's happening in the neighboring country of Uganda. Let's take a listen.
Media there, news from next door. The decision by Ugandan authorities to shut down NTV Uganda and its sister outlets has sparked uproar, with international media industry players terming it a threat to media freedom.
The media outlets NTV Uganda, Spark TV and the Daily Monitor were forced offline in the early hours of Sunday following a military raid ordered by the Chief of the Defense Forces, General Muhoozi Kainerugaba. General Kainerugaba, who is President Yoweri Museveni's son, ordered the crackdown following the publication of critical stories regarding the country's political and security establishment. With more is Mary Moki.
The dramatic siege and forced closure of two of Uganda's biggest media outlets continues to spark a massive public outcry and widespread international attention. Uganda's military chief Muhoozi Kainerugaba, who is also President Museveni's son, announced the closure, adding that he did not believe in free press. On his X account, Muhoozi declared that he has ordered the closure of the nation's biggest private broadcasters, affecting the Daily Nation, NTV Uganda and Spark TV, adding that they would not reopen without his express permission. The military chief also declared that all future negative stories about Uganda must be cleared by his office. Both the Daily Monitor and NTV Uganda are owned by the Nation Media Group. Opposition figures and human rights groups have condemned the siege, with opposition leader Bobi Wine terming the military operation an escalation of authoritarianism and a heavy blow to independent voices in the country. Uganda's National Association of Broadcasters also says it is closely monitoring the situation, adding that it was deeply concerned about this action and its impact on the media ecosystem. East Africa Press Council chairperson David Omoyo called for respect and upholding of media freedom and protection from any form of harassment and intimidation. Omoyo also urged the media to practice restraint and responsibility in its public watchdog role. This is not the first time that the Nation Media Group stations in Uganda find themselves in the crosshairs of Uganda's government. President Museveni's administration shut down the Daily Monitor for 10 days in 2013, and in 2007, NTV Uganda was taken off air months after its launch, following government criticism of its coverage. Mary Moki, Citizen TV.
If you're just tuning in, I am DJ Cadero, your host here on the Diaspora Show and your anchor on the Diaspora News. This is the Diaspora News segment of the Diaspora Show, where we cover the top stories going on in Africa, the Caribbean, and anywhere else that the African diaspora is centered. Exclusively on 879 The Culture, where the culture of hip-hop and R&B lives. It's Monday, Reggae Monday to be specific, on June 29, 2026, and we're getting into our second story. The Ugandan Chief of Defense, the son of the president of Uganda, gives the orders to shut down Uganda's largest media house, Nation TV. Again, the general Mr. Muhoozi, went on Twitter X and publicly declared, "In Uganda, I do not believe in free press." His words, getting out my words. He further stated that all future media coverage must be cleared by his office. This is an aggressive clampdown that follows the recent swearing in of his 81-year-old dad, President Museveni. President Museveni is serving his 7th term in office, by the way. Okay, 81 years old, 7 terms. Back to back to back to back to back to back. Huh? Putting up Jordan numbers, huh? Analysts report that Museveni's son, General Muhoozi, who has served as the top military commander since 2024, is aggressively tightening his grip as the de facto leader should anything happen to his father. And he's doing this by suppressing any independent reporting linked to political opposition leaders. International press organizations and the Federation for African Journalists have condemned the illegal siege, calling it a dangerous abuse of state power. Uganda's independent media ecosystem is currently crippled, leaving the population in an information vacuum. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on this second story. Again, the head of the military, who is the son of the president of Uganda, shut down TV. Turn the TV off. Turn this TV off. Sheesh. Lita says, wow, off air. DJ Mr. Soul says, ironically, I mean, I'm going to add the ironically here. He says, while using free press on Twitter, effing idiot. Lita adds, this is wild, with a meme from Patrick. This bunch of, yeah. I have so much to say, but I don't know where to start, and we don't have enough time. Maybe, just maybe, when we come back from our commercial break, I'll give you my thoughts on this, because I have a lot of thoughts. Let's get into our third story. I know. Just bear with me, guys. Let's get into our third story. This is a little lighter, a lot lighter, actually. It's about the World Cup, FIFA World Cup 2026, and the stage has been set. So let's turn to some football, because the knockout bracket is officially locked in. Hey, twin, say twin. The knockout bracket is officially locked in. History was made during the group stages, with a record number of African nations advancing to the round of 32. Though South Africa were eliminated yesterday. Yes! Yes! Woo! Yeah! Oh, excuse me. Sorry. Journalistic integrity.
Do me a favor, please. Get out of here. Get out of here, man. Shit, I'm saying.
South Africa lost in a heartbreaking 1-0 loss to Canada yesterday. The continent still has immense firepower left in this tournament, though. If you're looking for what games to watch, again, this is the knockout stages. So there's no more 2 or 3 games after you lose. No. One game and you're out. Again, it's the knockout stage. It's in the name. Knockout. You get knocked out. Bah! Bye-bye. You got to go home. So it's 32 teams, and 9 African teams have qualified for the knockout stages. As far as for today, at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, Brazil takes on Japan in Houston, Texas, at the NRG Stadium. Germany takes on Paraguay at 3:30 Central Standard Time in Foxborough, which is Massachusetts, a suburb of Boston. And then the match of the day is what they're calling it, is the Netherlands and Morocco in Monterrey, Mexico at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Morocco shocked the world at the last World Cup back in 2022, but they face a powerhouse. I mean, this Netherlands team is pretty tough. But because of the way that the bracket is drawn, one of these top tier teams will be sent home packing tonight. We'll keep our eye on it, as well as tomorrow Ivory Coast takes on Norway. And Norway's got that 6'5" Erling Haaland, who is the top scorer for Manchester City. But let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Again, 9 teams out of the 10 teams that qualified for the World Cup from Africa have advanced to the knockout stages. But yeah, yesterday, South Africa lost to Canada, so they got sent packing. All right. Nothing, no thoughts on that. I know you guys are still thinking about that second story. Again, the first story is, excuse me. South Africa's, I'm only laughing because it's still insane. South Africa has a deadline looming tomorrow for Black African immigrants. And so countries have taken the necessary steps to try to repatriate as many citizens back to their home countries as they can. And then the South African president saying, we won't tolerate any violence. But how did it even get to this point where your own citizens, Mr. Ramaphosa, are undermining you and saying, we don't recognize you as a rule of law? That's terrible. Second story, again, the head of Uganda's military, who is the president's son, General Muhoozi, went in and barged his troops into Nation TV's headquarters, not just for TV, but the radio and the newspaper, and said, turn it off, stop reporting. And any story from here on forward has to be approved by my office. And then last but not least, we are at the knockout stages. Again, what would be like round 2 of the NBA playoffs and the FIFA World Cup. This is a lot of news, guys. I think the knockout stages thing is probably secondary. You know, the first thing that you guys want is maybe my thoughts on, especially journalistic freedom in Uganda and how literally it's being tested. All right, we're going to take a short break to absorb all this heavy news and maybe give you guys a chance to grab some to drink, especially if you're in the United States. It might be breakfast or lunchtime, depending on where you're at. I'm going to have you guys with some reggae vibes. So sit back, relax, and we'll be back with the African proverb of the day, as well as my thoughts on, hey, what's going on in Uganda and what is potentially at stake for being a journalist in Uganda, especially independent journalists. I'm DJ Cadero. I am your anchor here on the Diaspora News and your host on the Diaspora Show. It's Reggae Monday here on 879 The Culture, where the culture of hip-hop and R&B lives. I'm going to leave you guys with some reggae vibes when we come back. Again, we'll have my thoughts on everything journalism. Don't go anywhere.